Hey everyone, Captain Tsubasa is back on eFootball. So we've got Volume 2 of the Tsubasa collaboration campaign. Same kind of stuff as before. Got a bunch of pictures, woohoo, some new strips, and a bunch of free players. Name should be in your inbox now. I'll be doing a review of all these cards separately. One thing to note with these is that it's not just random spins. We get selection contracts. So I think it looks like we're getting 3 of those from objectives, and I think there's 1 in your inbox as well. So we can choose 3 of these players, which is really good. So yeah, like I say, I'll do a separate video reviewing these players, and then it's the usual stuff, a bunch of trainers, coins, tokens, whatever. But yeah, Tsubasa Volume 2, pretty cool. Events wise, if you look at what we find in events online, it's the usual stuff, plus golden goal is back, which is cool if you like that kind of thing. AI events, we've got this starter one, and here we get a bunch of rewards. So we get some pictures, GP, trainers, tokens, pretty cool, quite a few rewards in that one. You got Beat the Clock, that's back again, which is good. And then we've got 2 Player of the Week free spins. You get the Champions League one. That's the same as the previous time in Champions League. That seems to be a regular thing now, which is great. So you just beat a team of all the new Champions League Player of the Week cards twice on any difficulty level to get your free spin on that. And then the usual one for the regular Player of the Week spin. You just beat the AI twice and get 3,000 points. And then it's just the existing events there. So that's it for events. And except the eFootball Open, I believe, starts tomorrow as well. So that should pop up soon, I hope. Presumably. Not much new in these areas. Point store, nothing new. Packs, nothing new. So we're just going to go straight to contract, and we will look at Player of the Week. I'm going to review the regular Player of the Week pack in this video, and I'll do the Champions League one in a separate video. So you got some pay to win cards as well. 2 versions, because apparently some people care about that. But yeah, Champions League, I'll do that separately, and regular Player of the Week, I'll do that one now. There's no other new packs, I don't think. So as always, I'll have timestamps in the description, so if you want to hear about any particular players, click in the description and there'll be links there to take you straight to them. And let's start with the last rated. No 4 stars, all 5 stars this week. How generous. So we'll start with Pavlović from AC Milan. So Pavlović, who has his face scanner, I got that quite recently, obviously plays for a partner club now, it's no surprise. Normally a build-up, they change it to a destroyer. And it's a decent version of him. We've had one feature version, can't speak properly, feature version of him previously. As in that AC Milan pack. This one, pretty similar on the whole to that one in the Milan pack, to be honest. The one in the Milan pack, bit better defensively and physically, but this one's had a nice boost on his acceleration, his jumping, and his stamina. So kind of pros and cons, really. Similar on the whole. Compared to his GP card, like I say, it's the jumping, acceleration, stamina that have had the boost, really. That's about it. Not much else has changed significantly from the GP card. The jumping's a reasonable boost. The acceleration's a pretty nice boost. The stamina's a massive boost, like 20 odd points on stamina, I think. So yeah, pretty nice boost in certain areas, and he's pretty strong looking. I can't really pick out any major weaknesses here, except that, as you expect from a big, tall, physical guy, and especially a destroyer, the balance isn't great. He's not great on the ball, so you have to be very careful if you get this guy on the ball. But in terms of just defending, fairly strong. He's not amazing, obviously, only 92 rated. Some of that comes from the kind of the fact he's lacking a bit technically. Would be nice if the tackling was just 1 higher, so the maximum boost would get up to 90. But on the whole, pretty strong defensively, physically strong. Jumping, like I say, he's had a boost, so he's got decent jumping now. Considering how tall he is, he's about 6'4", almost 6'5". 85 jumping. Your maximum game plan boost to get up to 88, and he does have aerial superiority. So this guy's going to be strong in the air. So yeah, at first glance you're looking around thinking, okay, it's a pretty strong centre back, but with his height, the jumping and the aerial superiority, the fact that quite a few people have got, you know, what do you call them, bullet header players, there's quite a bit of crossband going on. This could be a pretty useful centre back to have. Just staying on the skills there for a second, what they changed, they've just thrown a couple in. So we've got 1 touch pass, that's a nice bonus on the centre back, sliding tackle. Yeah, pretty good selection on the whole. So heading and of course aerial superiority, like I say, man marking, search and blocker, sliding tackle, fighting spirit. I think the only one he's really lacking is acrobatic clearance. So yeah, on the whole, he's pretty well equipped with skills. He's not the quickest, and like I say, he's not great on the ball. He's going to be a bit awkward, not the most manoeuvrable. That kicking power as well. Keep an eye on that kicking power. Be careful not to underhit your passes. You don't want to be underhitting your passes anywhere, especially in front of your own goal. So that is a bit of a weakness to be mindful of. But like I say, apart from that, boosting his jumping on a guy who's already as tall as he is, who's got aerial superiority, that's really nice. So yeah, I think on the whole, for me, I prefer the build-up playing style, but I'm not, I don't dislike the Destroyer playing style. Destroyers will step forward a bit more. They're a bit more liable to kind of step out of position. Build-ups just seem a bit more calm positionally. But yeah, with the strength this guy's got, especially if you're up against a guy who's got some big tall strikers putting crosses in, this is a fairly strong centre-back. Maybe one for the Italian change worth keeping hold of for that as an option for that. But in general, he can certainly do a job. He's big, he's physical, he can defend. He's not an elite level centre-back by any means, and he's going to be a little bit lacking in terms of the manoeuvrability and being a bit weak on the ball. But on the whole, yeah, like I say, big, physical, he can defend, good selection of skills. Not an amazing centre-back, but it's a good, solid one. And now we have hat-trick hero Dango Ouattara from Bournemouth. So, give your man a face scan, Konami. Yikes. Yeah, so he's a goal poacher now. Ouattara is normally a left-wing forward. It's the first time I've had a featured version of him. So, yeah, normally a left-wing forward, normally a prolific winger. They've added centre-forward and made him a goal poacher. They've also made him semi-proficient at SS. So, if they ever make these cards position trainable, you can make him an SS. But, yeah, for now you can't, so that's utterly useless. But yeah, we've got a centre-forward version of Ouattara. Of course, he's got his usual positions as well. Apparently, he can play left-back. I'm not sure about that. But, yeah, compared to his GP card then, because there's no other feature versions to compare him to, obviously it's a different position, so I can't really, it's pointless doing a straight comparison to his attributes on his GP card from auto allocation. If you trained his GP card as a centre-forward, it's nowhere near as good as this. To be honest, even as a left-wing forward, this is still better than his GP card, really, so it's a really good version of him. Skill-wise, what they've done with his skills, they've thrown in heading and aerial superiority, long-range curler, first-time shot, one-touch pass as well. What have we lost? We've lost acrobatic finishing. That's a bit of a shame. And I think gamesmanship. So, yeah, a shame to lose acrobatic finishing. We can live without gamesmanship. We've had a bunch of really good skills thrown in there. He's got a good selection of skills. Obviously, for a centre-forward, first-time shot's crucial. One-touch pass, a nice bonus. Heading and aerial. Is he going to be good in the air? Well, he's, 5'9" or 10 or something like that. So he's not the tallest. He's not got great heading. He's not the strongest physically, but jumping 85, maximum game plan boost to get up to 88 with heading and aerial superiority. He could pop up with one or two headers for you. Got good enough pace for a goal poacher. The finishing and the awareness side, those are what let him down as a centre forward. So this is one of these cards where you're looking at the positions he's got. Yes, they've made him a centre forward and a goal poacher, but is that the position he's going to be best in for you? Some people might not mind the awareness being low, even the finishing. For me personally, they're both too low. Certainly everywhere else he's good though as a goal poacher. I'd like the balance to be a bit higher, but yeah, apart from the awareness and finishing and maybe the balance, he's got pretty good attributes for a goal poacher, but the crucial ones are too low for me. So I'm looking at the other positions thinking, is he good in those other positions? Obviously left back, he can't defend. He does have interception. Track back, but I mean track back's not really for defenders, is it? But interception at least. But yeah, he can't defend. You're not going to play this guy as a left back. That'd be crazy. As a winger, he can't pass or cross, so I wouldn't be looking at him as a winger really. Certainly as one who's going to be creating goals. But could he be a wide forward? Could you put him? I mean, he's left-footed. I'm thinking maybe he's a right wing forward. As a right wing forward, he's got the pace. Yeah. Balance, yeah, a bit low, but he's got a bit of physical strength about it for a wide, wide forward, that kind of a winger. On the ball, he's okay. Finishing 82, awareness 81. Suddenly, as a wide man, those are decent. And if you look at the skills, long range curler, first time shot, I think that would be the best way to use this guy. Wide on the right as a forward. There's an inverted winger, left footed, cutting aside with first time shot, long range curler. He's got the finishing. He's got a little bit of curl on him. Got a bit of kicking power as well. He's got the pace. He's not going to be an amazing dribbler, but he's okay on the ball. I think this is just going to be one of these cards that could be useful. If you're really desperate for a centre forward, the awareness and finishing are too low, but you could certainly get away with it because you've got enough strength elsewhere. So it could be an option if you're desperate. But wide right, I think for me, is where he'd be the best for you. I still don't think he's amazing in that position, but he's certainly got some strengths. He's got some very decent skills. So yeah, one of these cards where it's not amazing for me in any position, but could be used for one in a couple of positions, just as an option, maybe for the English League Challenge. Could certainly do a job for you. So yeah, it could have some uses. Could be one that it's worth keeping hold of, especially for that English League Challenge. But it's not an amazing card on the whole. And now we have Guus Til. So Dutch attacking mid from PSV. What have they changed? Same playing style and positions as usual. They've made his weaker foot a bit more accurate than normal. We've had a couple of trainable kind of cards from sort of legend pay-to-win boxes of this guy before. Pretty similar to this one on the whole, to be honest. If you got one of those, you don't really need this one. compared to his GP card, they've taken his lofted pass down a bit, annoyingly. But apart from that, it's a pretty nice boost they've given him. Loads of attributes have been increased by at least a few. So yeah, it's a pretty nice looking version of Til. Unwavering form and skill wise, what they've done, they've added soul control, nice. Long range shooting, nice, and outside curler, also nice. We've got a nice section of skills then. So we've got one touch pass and through passing. I think on an attacking mid, they're probably the first two I'd look for. But first time shot, long range shooting is great. Heel trick and outside curler are handy ones to have. Fighting spirit, always a nice bonus. Soul control as well is a nice one to add. So yeah, this guy's got some end product, but the passing's not great. Low pass at 83 is not brilliant on an attacking midfielder. Finishing is decent though, 83. Attacking rates at 80 on the whole player, good. He's not much of a dribbler. The dribbling's not brilliant. His pace isn't brilliant. I mean, for his position, it's alright, but for a dribbler, he's not the quickest, and his dribbling's not great. Not great balance either, so I don't think this is a player you're going to have a lot of joy with if you want to get him on the ball and start trying to dribble past defenders. But he's certainly comfortable enough in possession and can pick a pass at that 83. I think for a lot of people, different people have different opinions on passing. For some people, that might be fine. For me personally, I want at least mid-80s on low pass, so that's a bit lacking for me, although he does have the skills to help with the passing. But with the shooting though, with finishing at 83, he's a whole player with 80 attacking rates. He will get into good positions. He's got long range shooting and first time shot with finishing in the 80s. So certainly with the shooting, this guy is good end product wise. But yeah, he's one of these cards. He's an 83 rated. He's barely in the 5-star category. Not that the categories mean anything. I've had that rant before, but yeah, he's not a great card. It's not an amazing one, but and obviously we don't get any kind of Dutch League challenge, so. Are you going to have much use for this card? Obviously, if you're a PSV fan, if you like this guy for any reason, then could be a fun one for you to pick up. But if you're just looking for cards to add to your squad with divisions and so on, I don't see anything really that amazing about this card. Yes, he's going to get into good positions. He's going to have very good shooting for an attacking mid. But outside of that, yeah, decent in a bunch of areas, but not really particularly amazing anyway. So it could be a half decent one for some people to pick up, but it's not an amazing one. And I almost forgot he does have a face scan. He's had that quite a while now. But yeah, just another card really where he's got one or two stunts, but there's nothing really amazing about him, so I don't think many people will be too excited to get this card. And now we have Maghnes Akliouche from Monaco. He's got a face scan these days. He's got a really nice overhead kick for them. That'll be what he's in for. He did have a good game in the whole though, based on the highlights. Saw that, we're talking about it in the Discord. Yeah, we've had two previous whole player versions of Akliouche in Player of the Week. This one, on the whole, is the best, but those previous ones do have a few attributes a bit higher. They're kind of shuffled around a little bit. So yeah, those previous ones are comparable in some ways to this one. Compared to his GP card, there's no other feature versions of him that we've had. Compared to his GP card, he's worse on the ball. That's really annoying on a creative playmaker. Yes, he's down as a right midfielder, but he's an attacking midfielder or a right wing. He's a creative attacking player. They made him worse on the ball compared to his GP card on auto allocation. That's annoying. Passing is down as well. Very, very, very annoying. But everything else has been boosted really. Pretty much across the board. He's had a nice boost everywhere. So yeah, the boosted version of Akliouche, and on the whole, it's a pretty good one. But to nerf the on the ball and passing attributes on a player like him, that's just plain annoying. If they'd left them a bit higher, it's not going to break the game. It's not going to stop people spinning for legends. They could easily have not done what they've done with those technical attributes, because on this kind of a player, a creative playmaker, you want him to be better on the ball. None of these attributes are going to hit the 90 mark. The low pass again at 83. Yes, he's got one touch pass and through passing, but I would still like that low pass to be higher. It's a bit lacking for me. The finishing will go over 80 with the game plan boost, and it should do after that over kick he scored. And obviously they've added accurate finishing for that. They've also had a first-time shot, of course, through passing. So he didn't already have through passing. They've added that. Fighting spirit as well. So yeah, again, we've got a good selection of skills there. You've got some end product with your passing and your shooting, but it's just not an amazing card. He's got reasonable pace. He's reasonable on the ball, but I don't want a card that's reasonable. You're looking at these packs and you're thinking, is it worth spending coins? I'm not going to spend coins for a reasonable card. I'm going to spend coins for a really good card. It's just not a really good card. Yeah, it's decent. It's a good version of him. It's got some strengths, but like with Guus Til, there's just nothing really particularly exciting about this card. Yes, it's better than his GP card, and they're giving him a decent selection of skills, but we don't get a French League challenge, and what are you going to use him for? If you're a Monaco fan, sure, you might really like this card, but for most of us, He's not a particularly bad card, but it's not a particularly great one, really. And now we're onto the boosters, and we'll start with Fermín López, who's great for Barca. They absolutely demolished Valencia. Got his face scan, of course. And yeah, this is a good looking version of Fermín. They've changed his register position, so the positions he can play haven't changed. Centre mid, attacking mid, left wing, but they've changed his register position from centre mid to attacking mid. We've had 2 previous Player of the Week versions of Fermín, both Champions League Player of the Week cards. The most recent one was very similar to this one before you activate the boost, but when you activate the boost on this one, when he gets A form, it gives him an edge. It makes him the best version of him compared to the Player of the Week ones, at least. The older Player of the Week version of him was a creative playmaker, had nice passing, but on the whole not quite as good. So yeah, out of the Player of the Week versions of Fermín, this is the pick when he's on A form especially. Interesting when you look at the trainable versions of Fermín though. This is where it gets really interesting, because I think a lot of people, when you look at this card at first glance, you're thinking, oh, it's a really nice version of Fermín. This looks kind of maybe not exciting, but certainly looks like a pretty appealing card. Could be a good one to have, but the position change is key when you look at his trainable versions, because all the trainable versions of Fermín, we've had one that was in some kind of legend box, I think. There was one in the point store, and there's now one in the new Tsubasa collaboration thing where you can choose a player. So if you look at those versions of them, they're centre midfielders, and what happens with the trainable centre midfielder, when you train them up and auto allocate him, it will automatically allocate points to defending. If you're going to use this guy as an attacking player, which is what I would recommend, I think most people would, because that's where his strength lies. Clearly great going forward, not great defensively, no defensive skills really. So if you're going to use him like most people would as an attacking mid or as an attacking player on the left wing, with those trainable versions, you can take the points away from his defending attributes. You can put them elsewhere. So at first glance, if you look at those trainable versions of Fermín, you train them up on auto allocation, you think, well, this one looks a bit better. But if you do that with those trainables, you take away the points from defending when you auto allocate it. You put those points on dexterity and finishing, for example. They're actually pretty comparable. So the one that was in a legend box, very similar. If you train him to try and match up against this one, the one from the point store is not far off either. And the one that's in the Tsubasa selection, I will be reviewing all those new Tsubasa cards in a separate video. But just to summarize, if you try and train that up to match this as an attacking midfielder, pretty similar, to be honest. So yeah, in terms of the attributes, at first glance, yeah, it looks like a really cool version of Fermín, but it might not be that exciting a version, at least in terms of whether it's worth spending coins on this pack to try and spin him. Might not be necessary. You might want to hold on to your coins. So it's just something to keep in mind with that position change. It's quite significant, the difference that makes if you train him as an attacking player or using him as an attacking player compared to the trainable ones, if you're going to train him up that way. So something to keep in mind there. But comparing to his GP card, one of these interesting ones, on the ball, if you get his GP card, train it up on auto allocation, they've actually nerfed his on the ball attributes slightly, but when he gets the A form boost, slightly better than his GP card. And again, with low pass has been, they lost a few points from low pass compared to his GP card, but you get them back when he's on A form, which is nice. They have boosted him elsewhere there, of course, so they boosted his awareness and his finishing, no surprise there. Acceleration's up a bit. Physical contact, balance, so the dexterity's had a boost. He's lost a bit of kicking power, he's lost a bit of stamina as well, but yeah, it's an interesting version of him. So clearly some attributes boosted, some they've taken a few points away, and with these technicals here, they kind of nerfed them a little bit with some of these, but A form, you'll get them back. So on the whole, yeah, it's a good version of Fermín. He's a whole player that's going to be active in all his positions except for left wing forward. Well, he won't have an active playing style, but left mid, centre mid, attacking mid, he will be a whole player. He's got attacking awareness over 80, finishing over 80. Passing's decent. It's not amazing. On the ball, pretty nice. On A form, he's going to be 90 plus in all three of his on the ball attributes, which is really nice. Reasonable pace, not the quickest though. Playing wide left, I think some people might prefer a bit more speed on him. Balance okay. He's got a little bit of physical strength about him. Skill wise, this is quite interesting. So they have made a few nice changes with the skills, and this is one advantage this card does have over the trainable versions, albeit you can put skills on the trainable versions. But they have taken away scissors, feint, rising shots, and gamesmanship. I don't think any of those are a big miss, but what they've added double touch, long range curler, first time shot, and one touch pass, and he's already got through passing. So we've got a couple of shooting skills, we've got a couple of passing skills, a few skills, heel trick. Yeah, nice selection of skills now on this guy. So like I say, you can obviously put skills in all the other the trainable versions of him, but that's a nice selection of skills they've put on this one right out of the box. So yeah, it's a pretty tidy card. This, I think, centre midfield, he can't really defend. He's not got any defensive skills either, so I wouldn't be playing him as a centre mid. As an attacking mid with the whole player playing style, I think it was pretty tidy. He's not a top level card, but he's certainly got a lot of quality. He's got a bit of end product about him. I've got the point still one. I found him pretty neat, to be honest. I quite like him playing from left midfield, coming inside, making attacking runs as a whole player. He's been pretty nice for me. And like I say, that if you train any of the trainable cards to match this one as an attacking player, they're pretty similar. So mine is similar to this one. I've liked it. So on that basis, this one looks like a pretty nice card. It should be a pretty fun card to have. Pretty fun on the ball. Not the quickest, but if you don't mind the lack of pace, you could play him on the left as well as through the middle. And like I say, pretty good on the ball. That attacking awareness and the finishing, reasonable passing. He's got a bit of end product, and he's going to be a pretty fun one to have. But just keep in mind what I said about the position. The fact they've made this one an attacking midfielder. The trainable versions, if you take the points on auto allocation from defending, put them elsewhere, you can match those cards up to this one and make them very comparable. So you might not need this one, but it's certainly a pretty good card, especially on A form. And our second booster is Lautaro. So we've not actually seen him in Player of the Week for a while. He's been slowly getting up to speed this season, but we've certainly seen a lot of Player of the Week versions of him in the past. It seems like there's been about 100 of them, but he's usually a poacher or a fox in the box. This one's a deep lying forward. Not going to be everyone's cup of tea. I'm certainly not a big fan of that playing style, but if you do like that playing style, this could be an interesting card for you. So obviously he's a good card, Lautaro. When he's a Player of the Week, it's going to be good. They put his weak foot accuracy up by 1, by the way, just before I forget that. And of course, he's got his phrase scan, it goes without saying. But yeah, we've had a lot of Player of the Week cards of him. If you look at the better ones, if you pick out the highest rated ones, there's basically 1 fox and 1 goal poacher. They've got better awareness and finishing, but this card is better elsewhere. I think that probably makes sense as a deep line forward. On the whole, I think it's a reasonable profile he's got here as a deep line forward. I would like the passing to be a bit better though, but they have boosted him on the ball there. When you look at his GP card, they boosted his speed actually. They boosted his kicking power, but they've made him better on the ball as well, which is very important on a deep line forward. They have boosted his passing as well. I'd still like it to be a bit higher on a deep line forward, but if they have boosted it, where have they nerfed him? Have they nerfed him anyway? Yeah. Balance, attacking awareness. The finishing's been nerfed a bit until he gets A form, and then it goes 1 higher than his GP card. But that's fine. I think changing the playing style, yes, he's the same position as he normally plays, but changing the playing style, I can understand them shuffling some of the attributes around a bit. So on the whole, I think it's a pretty decent build they've given him. I think the profile as a deep line forward, apart from the passing being a bit low, I think it matches up pretty well with that playing style. What have they done skill-wise? We've lost dipping shot. We've lost acrobatic finishing. That's a shame. Again. And gamesmanship. We've gained rising shot, 1-touch pass, and through passing. So 1-touch pass and through passing on a deep line forward. Good addition. So again, the profile they're giving, I think is pretty decent. I would like the passing attributes to be higher, but I think on the whole, this is a decent looking version of Martinez. Obviously, you look at the numbers and the overall rating, it's great. It's a great card, but you've got to look at what he's good at. Does he match up with the playing style well enough? That playing style will be active both centre forward and SS. I wouldn't personally play him as an SS because the passing especially isn't quite high enough in that position, but as a centre forward, I think you can get away with it. Even if I'd like it to be higher, I think a lot of people will be fine with that. And compared to other versions of Martinez, certainly Player of the Week versions, very nice on the ball. He's still got the awareness and the finishing. Granted, you didn't need the A form boost to get that finishing up to 90 with the game with full, your full boost. But he's got a bit more speed than he often does. Physical contact on A form is going past 80 as his balance. So yeah, it's a tidy looking card. Unwavering form, of course. We have had better versions of him. The better trainer was especially we've had not the Showtime. We had a legend version of Martinez as well. So there have been better versions that are trainable. 1 or 2 Player of the Weeks are comparable, and if you prefer a goal poacher or a fox in the box, then for the playing style alone, there have been a lot of better versions. But if you like the look of a deep line forward version of Lautaro, if that's something that tickles your fancy, yes, I personally would like the passing attributes to be a bit higher, but they've given him 1-touch pass and through passing. They've made him better on the ball. For that playing style, I think he's a pretty decent card. I think for a lot of people, you can have a lot of fun with this. And one other thing to note as well, obviously he's good at finishing, but long range shooting, that kicking power on A4 and going past 90, finishing as well, of course. So yeah, deep line forward, long shots, passing improved, tidy on the ball compared to other Lautaros. Yeah, if the playing style suits you, the profile suits you, could be a really nice card to have. Very, very interesting version of Lautaro, that. And speaking of interesting versions of players, we have got a booster Ederson with really good passing for a goalie. So if you've watched any of my streams, you'll have probably seen me showing you my Ederson. I've got a trainable one, one of the best trainable versions of Ederson, and I've made mine really good at passing. His passing attributes aren't as high as this, but I've given him some passing skills, and that's what Konami done with this one. So obviously he got an assist from Man City, and they've thrown in through passing, weighted pass, and low lofted pass. And it's not just the passing, they've beefed his kicking power up as well, which is interesting. And he's a booster, and the booster is, we just scroll past it, passing. So kicking power goes even higher. That passing, lofted pass when he's on A form is going to go to the 90 mark. And a low pass past 80, which is pretty decent for a goalkeeper. So yeah, in terms of distribution, I think this guy, I think it's safe to say he's pretty much the best in the game. But he's a goalie, so how good is he at goalkeeping? Because that's pretty important as well. And he's pretty solid, to be fair. He's not amazing, but, you know, there's nothing particularly weak there. Obviously, the awareness and the reflexes are hitting the 90 mark with the maximum boost. Catching and parrying are reasonable. They've given him a nice boost on his catching, actually, from his GP card. Nerfed his parrying a bit. That's annoying. A bit harsh, but yeah, still pretty solid. The reach at 86, you're going to be falling short at the 90 mark with your full game plan boost. 6'2". He's not got the longest arms. If you look on eFootball Hub, you can see the kind of reach goalkeepers have got. So reach is a bit of a concern with Ederson. Not a massive one. The one I've got has been fantastic for me. He's never really let me down with his goalkeeping, and obviously his distribution's fantastic. But yeah, this is, I mean, you compare this guy to the best trainables like my one. In terms of the goalkeeping, the attributes are kind of shuffled around a little bit. But on the whole, pretty similar, really. He's just got this crazy distribution. So this is a very interesting version of Ederson. I think a lot of people are going to be interested in this card and hoping to pick him up. For me personally, I don't really need him because of the way I've trained mine, because I've beefed his passing up, not just with the attributes, but I think mine's got not just these three, but I think mine's got one touch pass and outside curler as well. So far he's done one pass with it with the outside of his boot, but still pleased they're giving that. But yeah, I think with the distribution on this guy and the fact he's a solid goalkeeper, I think he's going to be very interesting for a lot of people, including me, because the fact his goalkeeping is similar to mine, but he's got the extra boost on his passing that's better than mine. It would be an upgrade for me. So yeah, I'll be very pleased if I get this one, to be honest, and I think a lot of people will be. It's a very interesting goalie card, and yeah, not just solid at goalkeeping, but with the distribution, could be a lot of fun. And now we have a fullback finisher, Kimmich. Interesting. So we've had a couple of player of the week versions of Kimmich. They're both right back, actually. He is really primarily a midfielder, but interesting that in player of the week he's been a right back 3 times now. Both the previous times attacking fullback, this time obviously fullback finisher. All about the same overall rating. Not a lot of difference on the whole in terms of ability, but this one has got a bit more speed than those 2 previous ones, and tackling is better as well. But he's not quite as good technically. One advantage he does have, though, an unwavering form as well, before I forget to mention that, but one advantage he does have over those previous 2, he's got man marking blocker. Really nice skills to have in a fullback if you're going to use him as a fullback. So yeah, I would say compared to the 2 previous player of the week cards of Kimmich, better as a right back, but with the fact he's not quite as good technically, not as good as a midfielder, in my opinion. We've had quite a few versions of him by now, obviously a lot of trainables. We had a legend version, which is of course the best one. To be honest, if you've got one of the better trainables of Kimmich, and there have been quite a lot, if you train him as a right back, they're about as good as this, arguably a bit better in some cases, really. And as a midfielder, certainly a defensive midfielder, and centre midfielder, really, a lot of the trainable versions of Kimmich are better than this as well. So this, for me, at first glance, looks like a good card. It looks like one of these cards where, you know, obviously with Kimmich, you're looking at the pace. Yes, he's quicker than the previous 2 right back versions in player of the week, but 79 speed. Yes, the game plan boost is taking up past 80, but do you want a fullback with pace at that level? I don't think many people do. You know, if you play a very deep defensive line, you don't mind the lack of pace. Sure, he's got a lot of strengths, you know. Pretty much everywhere else for a fullback, he looks really nice. But that pace for me is a bit of a killer. The playing style as well. If you like your fullbacks to stay back and defend, fullback finisher, he's going to go drifting forward, up the pitch and into the middle to get involved in the midfield. Might not be the playing style for you. So there are reasons why he might be a big concern as a fullback, but is it one of these cards where you look at his normal position and you think, are you going to use him there, and is he going to be good there? Well, yeah, it'll be pretty decent as a defensive mid, defensively strong, down the right, absolutely spot on. But technically, yeah, he's decent enough for a defensive mid, but like I say, the thing is that you look at the other versions of him, there's been so many versions of Kimmich, and they tend to be better as a defensive mid and as a centre mid. So if you don't have a good version of Kimmich already and you want one, yes, he's a decent one. You know, you could use him as a right back if you don't mind the weaknesses. But as a midfielder, yeah, solid one. It's just a little bit disappointing. There have been better ones, but they have given him man marking blocker. What did they take away to make room for those? They took away chip shot control and captaincy. I think that's a good trade. So yeah, he got an advantage either as a right back or as a defensive mid or even a centre mid, but the fact he's got man marking blocker compared to other versions of him, albeit if you've got a trainable version you can put skills on. He's still got one touch pass, through passing, weighted pass, so he's got good passing. It's just not amazing. 85, that maximum game plan boost to get up to 88. It's decent enough, certainly on the defensive mid, but it's just whether you look at the card in isolation and say it's a solid defensive mid, possibly a decent right back, or whether you look at it compared to other versions and say it's disappointing in certain ways, which is my feeling on it, because I've got a version that's better than this, that's trainable. So yeah, it is a solid card, of course. It's a version of Kimmich, and in certain ways it is better than other versions, either as a midfielder or a right back, but there are weaknesses there. I wouldn't use him personally as a right back and as a midfielder. Like I say, we've had that many versions that I think are better as a midfielder. I just can't really say it's a particularly exciting card, but in isolation, if you don't have a good version of him, it is certainly a solid card and could be very useful for you. It's just, like I say, it's just not the best version of Kimmich in any position, really. And next we have Sandro. This is obviously the target for me as a Newcastle fan. He was good for us against Southampton, scored a very nice goal. So yeah, he's been playing as the kind of holding midfielder for us, and he normally is an anchor man, but this card is more about what he did going forward, so I can understand them making him a box-to-box DMF. I think that's spot on, to be honest. There was a previous Player of the Week card when he was at AC Milan, and that was a really, really good card. That was also a DMF box-to-box, very similar to this one on the whole, to be honest. So if you got that one, you might not consider that you need this one, but one advantage this one has, even though the Milan one had slightly better passing, and it went one higher overall, it didn't have through passing. I think this might be the first version of Tonali that's got through passing out the box. So that is a big, big addition, through passing. So yeah, on the whole, very similar to the AC Milan one that we had in Player of the Week a long time ago, a couple of years ago now. And it's pretty similar to the best trainable versions that we've had of Tonali as well. They tend to be anchorman, like I say, that's his usual position. I think this is only the second time he's been box to box, along with that previous AC Milan Player of the Week card. So the playing style is a difference, but yeah, in terms of the attributes, pretty similar to the best trainable ones, really. The attributes kind of shuffled around a bit, sometimes a bit better defensively, sometimes a bit better technically. But yeah, he's a box to box this time. He's got through passing, like I say. They've also added fighting spirit. I would have thought he would have already had fighting spirit, but they've given him fighting spirit. They've given him long range curler as well. That to me is weird. His goal was not a long range curler. You know, he got played in on goal and he just slotted it in the bottom corner. It wasn't a curler at all. Bit annoying really, because the skills that they've removed to make way for long range curler, through passing and fighting spirit are weighted pass and low lofted pass, and those are two nice skills to have on a midfielder. So that to me is pretty annoying. I'd have preferred them to take away something like double touch. I mean, how often does he do a double touch? I mean, really? You've got to take away weighted pass and low lofted pass? Very annoying. And long range curler, he didn't do a long range curler. He did not do that. His finish was just a straight side foot finish into the bottom corner. So why they've had to take away weighted pass and low lofted pass to make room for that skill in particular, very annoying to me. But they have given him through passing, which is a big plus. So yeah, on the whole, pretty good selection skills there for a box to box. As an out and out defensive mid, especially the fact he's not an anchor man, they've made him a box to box instead. Only interception now. I'd like man marking blocker on an out and out defensive mid. So I think for me, I'm looking at him more as a CMF, as a real all rounder in the middle of the park. He's got interception. That's the minimum defensively you want, really. He's got one touch and through passing, shooting skills, and some good attributes here. It's a strong card. The attacking range is a little bit low for me, but he's all right on the ball. The passing is good, but the maximum game plan boost, you get into 90 with low pass, and he's got through passing now, as I mentioned. Decent defensively. Fully boosted, he's going past 80 for physical contact. He's got a bit of balance. He's got good stamina, decent pace, bit of kicking power. This is a good, really good, solid midfield card, this. I think this is a very useful card as an all-rounder, like I said, as a box-to-box. You can use him as a defensive mid. I just think he's lacking 1 or 2 defensive skills, but he can certainly do a job as long as you've got at least one other defensive mid in there doing some defensive work alongside him. But yeah, depending on what kind of formation and tactics you're using, either as a defensive mid or as a centre mid, yeah, it's a good version of Tonali. They've, I mean, compared to his GP card, the only thing I've really nerfed is the defensives. And like I say, though, the performance this card's based on, it was more about his offensive play than his defensive play. I can forgive them for doing that because they have boosted him elsewhere, boosted him a bit on the ball. His attack awareness and finishing, of course, have been boosted, even though they're still a bit on the low side, certainly the attacking awareness. Boosted his pace a bit, and his physical contact. So yeah, defensive mid, centre mid, box to box, bit of an all-rounder. The passing, he's got interception. I think he's a really good solid centre midfielder, this. If you didn't get the AC Milan one, I've got it. And it's been very effective for me. I think for a lot of people, this could be a very, very good, strong centre mid or defensive mid card to pick up. And obviously, as a Newcastle fan, I'll be very keen to get it. But I expect I probably won't, as is usually the case. But yeah, good, solid midfielder card, this. And now we have this guy. Mbappé in Player of the Week again, and it's just another Mbappé card. I would love to say they've changed this, they've changed that, and talk about all the things they've done to this card to make it interesting, but it's not interesting. It's just Mbappé. If you don't have a good version of Mbappé somehow, and if you want one, it's obviously a very good card. He's a goal poacher centre forward. He's got the awareness, the finishing, the pace. He's great on the ball, unwavering form. It's just another Mbappé card, really. There's not a lot you need to really say. It's very similar to the previous Player of the Week that was quite recent from Real Madrid. The one difference between this one and the recent, the previous Real Madrid one is that he's got long-range curler instead of long-range shooting. I think for a lot of people that'll be a pretty good upgrade, to be honest. Especially people who like to play him off the left wing, coming inside onto his right foot. He's obviously got the pace on the ball, awareness, finishing, can be deadly. I mean, he can be deadly through the middle or wide left, but yeah, long range curl, I think for a lot of people will be a very nice addition there. Obviously, we've had some better versions. There's been a Legend one, Showtime as well, but yeah, it's very similar, very, very similar to all the better versions of Mbappé, apart from the Showtime and Legend ones, the Player of the Week, the trainables. Nothing particularly different about it. Even the free France versions, we've had 1 or 2 free ones from France cards of Mbappé. They're pretty much the same, really, very comparable. So if you got one of them, you don't really need this one, really, to be honest. Compared to a GP card, what they've done, so they've nerfed his dexterity, awareness, balance, acceleration. I think we can afford that, although a bit of a shame that the balance has been nerfed. I think we could do with a few more points back on balance, but obviously he's good enough on the whole. He's had a boost on his kicking power on the ball, which is very nice. Stamina's been boosted as well. What else did they do skill-wise? So they've thrown in long range curler, one touch pass, cool, that's a good one to throw in there. Fighting spirit, what did we lose to make room for these skills? We lost Rabona and captaincy, no biggie. So yeah, it's really, I mean, one touch pass is a nice one to have, but long range curler might be the one significant thing with this Mbappé card, because apart from that, he's got the usual skills, he's got the usual attributes. There's nothing particularly interesting about it. It's just an Mbappé card, and if you don't already have a good one, it's a great card to pick up, but I think most of us by this point probably already do. So I'm not sure that many people are too excited to get this card, but if you do want a good Mbappé, if you are excited to get this card, it's obviously very, very good, as you would expect, because it is just another Mbappé card. And he's got long range curler. And we finish up with Calafiori from Arsenal. So Calafiori is normally an extra front man. They made him an attacking fullback. They switched him from centre back to left back. And it's a pretty decent version. We've had a previous Player of the Week version of him that was from when he was at Bologna. That version, not so great. That was a build-up centre back. This is a better card. There was more pace on that one, to be honest. But apart from that, this is better all around, really. We've had some decent trainables. There was a Showtime, of course. As a centre-back, that Showtime card is better. Likewise, there was another recent trainable version in some kind of Legend pack. A bit better as a centre-back on the whole. But certainly as a left-back, this is about the best version, I think, that we've had of Calafiori. It's not quite as quick as I'd like a fullback to be, but he's got a lot of qualities. Defensively, he's very strong for a fullback. Down the left, he's fine. Unwavering form as well. He's got his face scan, of course. Got that shortly after he joined Arsenal. And yeah, I mean, he can still do a decent job as a centre back, to be fair. You know, defensively, he's okay. Physically, he's okay. He's got good pace for a centre back. Technically, very nice for a centre back. So, could be a very nice option as a centre back in a lot of ways. But certainly as a left back, yeah, I think this is one of these cards where centre back or left back, he's got a lot of qualities. Just there's one or two areas where he may be a bit iffy. Left back, pace is a bit iffy. Centre back, is he that strong defensively and physically? But he's certainly got a lot of qualities in both those positions. Skill wise, all they've really done is they've taken away Marseille turn and dipping shot. I think we can live without those. They've given him first time shot and super sub. So we've got a super sub Calafiori. He's got a decent section of skills as a fullback. So getting forward, long range shooting, first time shot, weighted pass, pinpoint crossing, low lofted pass, great. Defensively, we've got heading and error superiority, and you've got interception, sliding tackle. So yeah, in terms of the attributes, like I say, could still do a job as a centre back, but I think he's lacking skills actually on the whole. He really needs man marking blocker primarily. So as a centre back, I think it's a bit of a stretch. I think you're going to be looking at this Calafiori card very much as a left back, because the skill set for a left back is great. It's not really lacking much at all. You know, sure, he might still like man marking blocker, but as an attacking fullback, I think he's got pretty much everything he needs. And like I say, defensively, the attributes are very strong there. Tackling is going over 90 with the game plan boost. And down the left here, the technicals are fine for an attacking fullback. Unwavering form as well. The bounce is a bit iffy, but very physically strong for a fullback. He's going to be really good in the air for a fullback, actually. 6'2", jumping 85, physical 84. He's got heading and air superiority. So yeah, this guy's got a lot of qualities as a fullback. The pace really for me is the one thing that puts me off, because the speed's borderline. You can probably get rid of the speed, but if the speed's not quite as high as you want it to be, you want the acceleration to make up for it, and it doesn't. They have boosted it. From his GP card, obviously they changed him from a centre back to a left back, so it's one of these cards where there's no point doing a direct comparison to his GP card, albeit as a left back and centre back it is better than his GP card. I mean, in some ways the GP card is better. You can make him a bit stronger defensively, you can give him skills, so you could make his GP card a better centre back. But yeah, as a left back this is clearly better, but even with the pace boosted, is certainly the acceleration, it's a bit on the low side for me as a fullback, and the bounce is a bit iffy. So yeah, there are one or two negatives there with this card, and I wouldn't use him as a centre-back primarily due to the lack of skills. Left midfielder, I don't think he's got enough going forward. I don't think he's going to be great as a left winger. You could do that. He's got some decent skills as a left winger, but it's just not that great. I think it's a bit of a waste. I think this guy definitely is best as an attacking left back. You could put the defensive instruction on him and use him as a defensive fullback. If you did that, he's got a lot of qualities there. I think he could do a very good job for you. But whether you do that or whether you use him as he's supposed to be as an attacking fullback, yes, the pace is a bit lacking, as is the balance, but there are a lot of qualities there. And I think certainly, especially for Arsenal fans, could be a very interesting card to pick up as a left back. And if you get him and you're not an Arsenal fan, English League Challenge could be one of these cards worth keeping hold of for that. He can certainly do a job as a left back. Got a lot of qualities there. Just like I say, just might want to be mindful of that slight lack of pace and balance, because they are a bit concerning to me. But outside of that, a lot of qualities there. And as an attacking fullback, I think it's a pretty decent card, that, on the whole. So there is your regular player of the week selection for this week. As I mentioned at the start, I'll be reviewing the Champions League one on a separate video. I think it's a reasonable pack, to be honest. Even the lowest rated, the Pavlović, I think, if you don't mind the fact he's not great on the ball as a destroyer, just an out-and-out kind of all-out defender, he's pretty strong, and he looks like he's going to be very decent in the air as well. Ouattara, not a great card, could be useful, maybe a stretch as a centre forward, but I think primarily as an inverted winger coming off the right flank onto his left foot, could be a decent one, but not an amazing one. Til and Akliouche, two creative midfielders, attacking midfielders, lacking a bit in passing. Neither of them are particularly bad cards, but I don't think either of them are particularly great either, to be honest. Fermín, as I mentioned when I was reviewing him, if you've got a good trainable one like the one from the point store, if you pick up the new one from the Tsubasa campaign, you can train him as an attacking midfielder, and you can make him very comparable to this one. He just lacks a few skills, but you can put skills on those trainable cards as well. So it's a good version of Fermín, that, but you don't necessarily need to use coins to get him. If you're short of coins, you can train up one of the trainables to make it very comparable to this one. Lautaro, comes down to the playing style. If you don't really like the deep line forward playing style, you might not like this card. But if you do like that playing style, if it works for you within your formation and your kind of setup, could be a very, very nice card to pick up. Ederson, solid keeper and fantastic playmaker. Best passing, I think, of any goalkeeper in the game. It's a very interesting card. I think a lot of people will be very keen to pick that card up. Kimmich, not an exciting version of him for me. There are a lot of other cards of Kimmich that I think can be better as a right back and as a midfielder, but it is a decent card in isolation. If you don't have a good version of Kimmich, certainly could do a very decent job for you, primarily as a midfielder. Tonali, really solid midfielder. Obviously, I'm biased as a Newcastle fan, but I think most people would agree that's a very solid defensive mid or centre mid card. Mbappé, if by some crazy reason you don't already have a good version of Mbappé, it's a good version of Mbappé. It's got long range curler, but that's about the most exciting thing I can say about it. It's just another good Mbappé card, really. And then Calafiori, I think centre back, lacking skills. Don't think he's a left mid, but the one position he's got where he is good is the position that they've given him, left back. As an attacking fullback, yes, he's a bit lacking in pace and balance, but he's got a lot of qualities there, and he could put a defensive instruction on him and use him as a defensive fullback as well. So yeah, on the whole, one or two slight concerns, but it is a pretty decent left back card, that. So there's some decent cards in there. I don't think it's an amazing selection, but I do think there's a few decent ones in there. As we know with Player of the Week these days, we've not had a particularly exciting pack in Player of the Week for quite a long time now, but there are some decent ones in there. It certainly could be worse. But yeah, as for my free spin, I'll be doing that in a stream, hopefully. I'm going to hopefully do a stream maybe on Monday. Just play a few matches, spam some golden goal, maybe do some co-op with viewers. But yeah, keep your eyes on the Discord and the community tab. I'll let you know when my next stream is going to be. I'll do my free spins and that. And yeah, as for this one, hopefully you found this video useful. Thank you for watching. Let me know who you've spawned. Let me know what you think of the pack. I'll be doing the Player of the Week review later today, so keep your eyes out for that one. Thank you for watching as always. Take care of yourselves, and I'll see you soon.